Starmer, SUNAK, FERRARI and Guy. Guy, I'm pretty sure it's Guy. Not the car, Nick Ferrari. I believe is he a DJ on that there radio or a host on the radio there? I think LBC, is it? I think it is. Regularly on This Morning. Yeah, just what I'd like to talk about, folks. A quick one here, probably take 2 or 3 minutes. This big hoo-ha in the old, was it Parliament yesterday? And was it Prime Minister's Question Times when Sunak supposed to have said something out of turn regarding the various issues within the trans debate. He was calling Starmer for being lily-livered and not having a backbone and constantly changing his mind on various things over the last few years. He mentioned about 7 or 8 different subjects and he ended on transgender. Now, I didn't understand fully what he was saying, although I thought I did, and I think I'm right with what I thought. I think he was saying that Starmer had a view on what Sunak was on about, but then changed it and regularly changes his views on most things. And I thought to myself, what Sunak said wasn't really derogatory or inflammatory and meant from anywhere, any place of nastiness. I think what he was just doing was highlighting the fact that Starmer consistently changes his mind. Anyway, old Keir, as you might have seen, got up, went to the podium and really went for him, didn't he? He did. Oh, mentioning gender in the house today of all days, when Brianna's mother's in the gallery. And I thought, whoa, sweet child of mine, this is naughty. I thought, you're using Brianna's mum as a weapon against Sunak here, and that's not on. If you're not happy with him mentioning gender, anything to do with gender, or you don't like what he said, you go down that route, no problem at all. You don't go down the rabbit hole of using Brianna's mum to forward your argument and to get all the country and everybody in that room on your side. And many did go on your side because of it. I thought, I'm sure what Sunak was saying wasn't anything against the trans people at all. I think he was saying that Starmer changes his mind with the wind on that subject and on lots of others. I may have been wrong, I wasn't certain, but that's what I thought. Now, before we go to FERRARI, that's Nick. Go to Nick in a minute. I've got a thing against Starmer. Now, I've had people on here saying I'm all about Nigel Farage. I've had people on here calling me a Tory boy. I don't really know what a Tory boy is, but I do know what a Tory boy is. Now, Sunak, I didn't mind him when he had the number 2 job. I don't think he's made such a great Prime Minister. I think he's tried more than people think, but I think he moves around too much as well. Just like Starmer, he's not strong enough to have an opinion and 100% stick with that. I think he bends too much, but at the moment I can understand him doing that because his party's in total disarray. The people behind him are regularly letting him down with various scandals and what have you, and there's a lot of infighting, backbiting there, so it's an awful party to run at the moment. But I'm not defending him. But Starmer did something about a year, 18 months ago, and I can't remember what it was, but again it was in the House. And he used something or somebody to his advantage, and I thought, that's well out of order. Have the argument, yes, but don't bring somebody else in it to forward your cause. And he did it in an undrafted way, and I can't remember what it is. But the thing I've got against Starmer, and some of you people that watch the channel from time to time follow politics and know about it, I don't. I've said it many times before. But I read something on Starmer about 2-3 years ago now, and it's put me off him ever since, and I'm pretty certain I'm right with what I read. I'll tell you what I read, and those amongst you that have got a better memory than me and that know about politics and know about Starmer and Levy can tell me if I'm wrong. I don't mind being told I'm wrong, I don't mind that at all. But I read something 2 or 3 years ago, and I'm sure it went like this. There was a rabbi, I think it was a rabbi in that there London, who was very, very, very upset with Starmer. Might have even been 4 years ago. And I think the rabbi was the main man of the Jewish faith in London. I think he was the main rabbi, or the big cheese there. And he'd fallen out with Starmer because he'd had no backing off Starmer. He hoped Starmer would step forward and defend the Jewish people. The reason he hoped this was because this rabbi was actually a friend of the family, Starmer's family. I'm pretty sure I read that Starmer's wife is Jewish. I'm certain I did. I'm certain she's Jewish. And her family are very close to this rabbi, and through that, Starmer is as well. And it came at a time, I think, when Corbyn was still running the party. I think he was. I'm pretty sure he was. And he's been accused of being anti-Semitic, and there was a big part of the Labour Party that was supposed to be anti-Semitic and all against Jews. I think anti-Semitic is that's how thick I am, but I'm pretty sure it is. And I think they got rid of Corbyn and many of his followers for that reason. And I think the party has tried to stay clear of being anti-Semitic and hating Jews. And I think to that end, Starmer has always said, we want to move away from that and what have you. But I think the rabbi's problem was that Starmer never ever stood up for him and the Jewish people whilst he was number 2 to Corbyn, or whatever it may have been. All of a sudden, since Corbyn's been moved on and others of the same ilk as him have been moved out of the party, and it's become more everybody friendly, more inclusive of everybody, Starmer has softened his stance and said many of the right things. But I don't think he was brave enough to say the right things further down the line. I might be wrong. If I am, please put me right. Takes me back to Ferrari. Ferrari's been on this morning, and he was defending Sunak to an extent. He said, look, Rishi shouldn't have mentioned anything to do with transgender, anything he said in the House, if as much as anything else, because Brianna's mother was there. He had been informed that she'd be with Parliament, but I think maybe he didn't know she was actually in the House there and then. But had he have known, I would have hoped he'd have had the sense just not to mention trans in any way, shape or form after what's gone on. He said, but all Sunak was trying to highlight is how Starmer has one opinion, then changes it, then maybe goes back, then changes it. Or, when you ask him for an opinion on a subject that's a hot topic, as anything to do with trans has been for the last 4 or 5 years, he just won't give you an answer. And that's what he was saying. He wasn't calling the trans lobbyists, the trans rights, the transgenders, from what I could tell. And I think old Nick is saying the same, and Nick's a lot cleverer than me. And I think he's saying, as I say, he shouldn't have said anything, but he was highlighting Starmer's lividness and the fact that he just doesn't back up anything he says, and often turns his back on what he says and just completely does a 180 turn. That, I think, was what he was saying. And for that reason, I didn't think, again, I might be in the minority, that he did much wrong yesterday, Sunak. And by the way, I've had some on here say to me that is it homophobic, or this and I'm that. Well, as I say, I mean, they can keep saying it. They don't have to look in the history of the channel to find that that is anything but the case. In fact, I couldn't be more the other way. And those that have followed what I've said about Brianna, and there's not many that have, I'm all for Brianna and what's gone on and against her. You know, I mean, that day, I'll never remember it like a parents and a friends will, but that's a day I'll never remember what happened there, and what the people, I won't say children, the people have done to her is unforgivable. You know, and I've always been in the Brianna camp and against everybody else. You know, I've always batted for Brianna. You know, I'm somebody that's been happy that they've mentioned the names of who they are and whatever else, and I'm somebody that believes they should never come out of jail, but that's only my opinion. So nothing against the trans community at all from me, whatever people think. But as I say, I just say it as I see it, and I didn't think Sunak did a lot wrong yesterday, other than maybe he shouldn't have mentioned anything to do with that movement yesterday, being as how Brianna's mum was in there. But I don't think he meant anything derogatory to the movement, to Brianna's mum, I don't at all. And I think Starmer just seen an opportunity to really, really score points using Brianna's mum as a battering ram for himself. And I think to a great extent it worked. But I think to a great extent it tells you a lot of what you need to know about Starmer and the way he operates. But I may be wrong. And again, I don't support the Tories. I don't support Labour. I don't support FERRARI's party. I don't support anybody really. Although I have said the name many times, of the three of them, I think FERRARI would probably be the best option of the three. You know, as long as the policies were in line with what we were after, I think you've more chance with him, as I say, of trying to stick to what he says more so than the other two. He might not get everything through he says, but I think he'll try harder than anybody else. Some have disagreed with me, many haven't. That's just my take. As I say, folks, I'm not a political animal for all I own opinion on here. And the reason I do that is because it's my channel and I'm allowed to. And if I get things wrong, just tell me. That's what it's all about. It's all about debate. Nobody will be stopped from putting comments on here, even if it's something that goes against what I say, even if it's something that I don't like. It's your opportunity to tell me if I'm wrong. Okay, folks, that's it on this one. A bit deep, that one, wasn't it?